are going to be working in the basement. Over in this corner, we have a little bit of old wall right here that we need to get tore out. Then once we get this all tore out and cleaned up, we are going to dig this dirt out right here. And then we are going to be putting in rebar and forming up the last little bit of foundation wall that we need to pour, which is right here. Hey everybody, you're watching Cole the Corn Star, and welcome to the 100% restoration and remodel of my great-great-grandfather's $7,000 mansion, and welcome to Cornstar Farms. We are currently in the middle of getting ready to pour the footings and foundation walls in the underground movie theater, but before we can get anything done over here, we need to get all of the big stuff done in the existing basement, because once we get concrete poured over here, we will not be able to get big stuff in and out anymore, which will make our work over here almost impossible. So the last big thing that we need to do in the existing basement is over here in this corner. We need to build a little stub wall right here, just like what we have over in the center of the house over here. So we're gonna have a little baby concrete wall on the bottom, and then we're gonna have 2x6 studs on top of it that are holding up our ceiling. Now, before we can end up actually building this little wall, we need to remove the old wall that is right here. So we just got a little piece left. So we gotta get this out. And then once we have that out, we will have this back corner exposed. And if we look closely, this is just dirt right here. This is not concrete. And that's because this entire back corner used to have no foundation under it whatsoever. So we've already poured a foundation wall there. We've poured a foundation wall right here. And we have our last pour left. So today we're gonna try to get this dug out. Then we'll get a rebar structure built inside of there. We will also dig a footing. And then hopefully we can get this formed up. And then once this is poured, then our foundation wall will be done. Then we'll be able to take our little baby stem wall that we're gonna be pouring right here, and we'll be able to butt everything up into it. So before we can do this, we need to do this. And before we do this, we need to get rid of this. Just to give a little perspective on how hard the materials that we were trying to break up with the jackhammer is, well, it took me 40 minutes to get this little piece broken up into pieces small enough that we could lift them into the wheelbarrow and then flip them outside of the house. So 40 minutes to do this one. We have one that is about the same size to go. This one could be a little bit more difficult. We're gonna see what we can do. Surprisingly enough, and for whatever reason, the sledgehammer seemed like sometimes it worked better than the jackhammer, and then the jackhammer sometimes worked better than the sledgehammer. So we just used this combination. We got this bad boy knocked out in 20 minutes. We just have a little bit of rubble here left, so now we just gotta clean up our rubble, clean up a little bit of this dirt, and then we can start digging that area out.
It's Tuesday, working on trucks and trailers once again. Should be done today, hopefully. Zach's working on fifth wheel risers. Working on putting new air tank in our old hopper. Got new valves. Figured while we're in there to put new valves on it. Never have to worry about it again. Plus this one was bad on the other tank. So it's just this one. So it's like new tank, new valves, then everything's new. But our tank here, the way it mounts, a little bit different. Those are just flat. Hard to tell, just flat. These had this round part in it. I make different tanks for everything. Fortunately, nothing can be the same. Everything's got to be different. So just cut these tabs off here so we can get this into where we need it. So I'm going to just cut these corners so they're square so it'll fit in there. Do the same thing on this side. The sink should be ready to go in. We went with all push connects instead of having thread fittings. These are just easier, so if something breaks, you just plug and play. And a lot faster to hook up. So we had to get new fittings anyway, so that's what we did. The next thing here is we gotta change out these lines. We're gonna pull these plugs out, take this line off. We got 2 new ones because the fittings that we needed, they didn't have them. So we're gonna make this work. We're just putting 2 new lines on. I'll thread right into each one of these. We'll take these plugs out, run them up to here. Okay, so the problem we're running into since we put these fenders on, with our back fenders, you're losing about 4 inches of clearance here with your 5th wheel. So what we've done here is we've made these high-rise plates. You can buy high-rise 5th wheels, but then you got to buy a whole new stand. So this is our go-to, what we do here. Just drill 5 holes, and I'll go right under here. And I'll raise 5th wheel 3 inches, so like 7 inches of clearance instead of like 3.5. And you pull out field drives, the trailer tilts back and hits the fenders. So we got to raise this 5th wheel. We gotta raise this one, then all of our 5th wheels are raised and we shouldn't have any problems. So we're gonna go ahead and slide this under. Holes are just slightly off, not much, like a 16th on a couple of them. So we're just gonna put a little bigger holes than these so we got a little bit more clearance in here. And then try it again. Okay, we gotta only drill the top holes a little bigger, hoping the bottoms would be all right, but they're a little off too. So it's gonna drill the bottom. So we're gonna come back here to the back of the hopper, and we got 2 lights to replace. This one here, and this one here. And then we went to the brakes, and this one was not very bright, and the brakes weren't working. And so we determined it was the ground. So I cut the old one off, put a new one in, and it's good to go. So we gotta pop those 2 lights in, grease this truck, check air pressures quick. Or we don't have to grease the truck, just the trailer. And check air pressures. It should be ready to go.
With the addition of this big hammer drill with the spade bit on the end of it, it has made digging this foundation wall so much easier than all of the other ones. Just to put it into a little bit of context, when we dug that one out, it took Roman and I about 4 hours to do. We've got basically half of this already cut out in less than 30 minutes right here. So the most challenging part for Roman is to be able to get around all of our rebar that we have sticking out from our previous pour. But once he gets around that, he can just zoom. We already got a nice pile right here. We're in a little bit of a confined space, so when he's on the one side, I can shovel while he's running that, but where he's at right now, only he can run it, and there's kind of one guy in there shoveling, but we're making do with it. Working with Roman has been an absolutely incredible opportunity because not only has he taught me a lot about construction stuff, but he also taught me that I have absolutely no work ethic compared to him. He literally, the man's a machine, but most importantly, he has taught me the importance of having the correct tool for the correct job. Roman is very much so a tool guy, so when we get into a new thing, he's like, hey, we should get this tool. It's gonna make things so much faster for us. And so once we actually get that tool, I have realized just how important having good tools are and tools for the specific job. It makes things 10 times faster than just doing it the brute force way, which is the way that I've always done it. So for Roman teaching me about the importance of tools, I am greatly appreciative.
Since there is not enough room for two guys work efficiently here, we decided that I'll stay here and keep digging over here, and Cole is gonna punch and dig the hole out right above me so we have a spot to pour the concrete through. And here he is with his probe. I think that should be pretty good, Cole, unless you move it about 5 inches to the west.
Sticking the probe in, Roman said I got it on the first shot. We're actually going to bump over about 5 inches, so about right where my finger is now. When we're digging this one, we need to be really careful because the electricity that comes into the house is right here, and then it runs underground this way. So as long as we stay over on that side, we should be safe of everything, but we're gonna be very careful. We are being efficient with our time today. It took me 12 minutes and 57 seconds to dig this hole. If we look way down in there, we can see light down in the basement. So this is already up here to have the concrete mixer come up to it, and then it'll just be ready to pour down into that hole. Now that we got our hole dug right there, ooh, there's a nice breeze coming down that. We just gotta get the backside smoothed off a little bit, dig down on the bottom, kind of clear that corner up, get this dropped about a foot right here, dig out our footing width, dig that down, build a rebar structure, and get some plywood slapped up on the front of this thing, and then this is ready for concrete.
Okay, we're just about done with this trailer. The last thing we gotta do, Zach just had to mention it before we pulled it out. We're gonna put gust busters on. It's these straps, like big bungees. They go across the tarp. They hook it on this side, and then hook it on the other side, and then it goes across. If the wind picks up, it can't throw your tarp all the way over. A strap holds it down, and so we gotta put those on. I'm just gonna drill a 5/16 hole. And then we get all of our hardware over here. Put screws right there, bolts. Just gotta drill a hole, and then these will self-tap themselves. Put a washer and a spacer on, and good to go. So we're gonna go ahead and drill these quick and put those on. Okay, it's hard to see, but there's one there, one up there, and the other side to hang a little lower. Kind of hard to see, but it literally just goes across. Like I said, that way when the wind picks up and it grabs your tarp, instead of going woo all the way over, kind of holds it down. So, that's that. Got the fifth wheel done. We got a good 5-6 inches of clearance here. We're kind of in an odd spot because we're kind of going out of the shed. This wheel's down and that one's up, but you can see we got good room here. There's a high riser right there. We're good. That way we don't ruin our nice fenders. Now I just got to raise fifth wheel on Elmo. Should be good to go there.
After I dump this wheelbarrow, we should be down to our last one. Roman likes to fill these things nice and heavy. I like them to be a little lighter so that way I can actually move them around a little bit. You know it's too heavy when you can feel the entire frame of the wheelbarrow start to move underneath you. Now here we got the fun part. We basically got to get it out over the ramp and then try not to tip the thing forward. Let me do this, flip it over on the side. Okay, we got an empty hopper. And then beep, 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 back up. Drive right back on in over to Roman. Last wheelbarrow right here. and we'll be done digging. I'm gonna try to work over the top of Roman here for just a minute. We need to get some dimensions so that way we know how much concrete we need. We have some concrete in the shop right now, but I don't know if we have enough. We may need to get a little bit more. It looks like we're running about 36 inches in width, and then we are approximately 5 feet tall. So 36 by 60 by 14. Pulling up our concrete calculator here, if we are 36 inches wide, that means we are 3 feet. We are 60 inches tall, so 5 feet tall, and then we are 14 inches thick. So that comes out to, we have 60-pound bags in the shop, so we need 39 bags. Now that 39 bags is just this vertical part right here. We still have to add our footing in. So the footing is also going to be, we're gonna call it 44 inches wide, and we'll get a good average. We'll just call it 24 inches across at 12 inches thick. Pulling up our concrete calculator, we need an additional 16 bags. So we're just gonna call it 50 bags is what we are going to need. We definitely don't have 50 bags, so we're gonna have to get some more. But I need to go calculate how many we do have, so that way I'm not buying a bunch extra. All right, let's see what we got in here. Oh, it looks like we have more on the pallet than I expected. If I'm not mistaken, I believe there is 7 per row. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 full rows of 7. So that's 42. And then we have 6 here on the top, 48. Then we have 4 bags right here. We have 52 bags. Oh, that is going to be very close. I know the concrete calculator said we needed like 46 or 48. We just rounded it up to 50 and we have 52, but experience is telling me that we need an extra 10 bags on top of what we think we need, because it just seems like we've always been about 10 bags short on all of our pours using the concrete calculator. So being at 52 here, it's just putting us much closer than I would like us to be. I don't want to get like everything full except for the top this much of the wall, and then we run out, and then we'd have to cold joint that pour, and we don't want to do that. So I'm probably gonna be making a store run to pick up 10 more bags.
You get ice cream,
39 bags.
We're almost done digging, but one thing we need to make sure that this surface where the other pour is gonna butt against is clean. So 2 surfaces will bond together and will not let any water from the outside in. So we need to clean this up. Before we would use the old trusty whatever we could find, which mostly would be this little shovel or garden scoop. But now we have this device and it works much quicker and much better. So we're gonna use it.
Okay, so we got the 5th wheel off, and what we're running into is you guys seeing all that rust? Well, if you look down the rails here, they're bent from all the rust jacking. So the problem that we're having here, here's our high riser. Can't tell, it's crooked. So when we go to tighten this down, it's gonna pull it to the outside. It's gonna pull it onto the, it's gonna roll it this way onto our angle iron out here, which isn't allowing any of this to sit on the frame. So all of our weight from our trailer will be literally just sitting on the angle iron. So if it's sitting on the angle iron, it should push down, but it might try to roll it out. I don't know, it might be fine, it might not be fine. I don't know what the right answer is. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the fenders off, and we gotta take this angle iron off, get some new angle iron, lower it down. So I don't know if you can see the height difference. Lower it down drill new holes in the angle iron, then we gotta drill new holes in the top, and then put holes in our high riser, and then bolt everything back down. So once again, another slow up. It might be okay, might not be. I don't know what the right answer is, but try to do it the right way, we think. But so now we're gonna take these fenders off, take the angle iron off, order a metal in the morning, get it, cut it, drill it, mount it, tighten it. Hopefully be done tomorrow by noon with this, I hope. Thought we'd be done with trucks today, but here we are. Got them off, completely cleaned up, all the rust off. Just gonna throw some shaker paint on them quick. Good to go. Not out of that can. Maybe not.
Our last wheelbarrow is full, or half full. The hole is all clean and neat. And we're ready for some rebar and make our rebar structure. And we'll also drill anchors to tie into this section of the wall.
Roman, how much do you miss the hand tires?
It's a very sad day for me. We had good relationship with that tire. We were one. So I hear the cry of it saying, hey, use me. And I'm saying, no, you're too slow.
There she be. We got our top mat all done, so everything is basically on like a 12-14 inch center up here. It's a little bit wonky just because of how we have our bolts over here and then how we have our rebar sticking over here. But then going this way, we got 4 runs, which, considering the fact that our entire foundation wall before was just that little baby piece at the top, we literally had 18 inches of foundation wall and it was 12 inches thick, and somehow that was holding up the entire house. The addition of this rebar should make it about infinitely stronger than it was before, and then not to mention that we have the footing down below. So we got 24 inches wide, a foot deep, we got a double layer of rebar, everything is tied into the footings that we have over there, so that is all set into the concrete over there, and then we have the exact same thing here, so we got everything tied up in the middle, we got stuff running across, so that way they all carry load. We're ready to form this up. Before we get a little creative with forming up our plywood for the form, I do need to do one more thing over here. We have our demolition chipper right here. I have my chipper bit on this, and we are going to try to utilize it to get this little lip off that goes all the way around the opening, so that way when we put our plywood up to here, we'll be able to get it nice and flush to the concrete up top, so that way we don't have it sticking way out right here. So I have honestly no idea how this is going to work, but I have high hopes for it. I think we should be able to stick it in right there and break that right off. Okay, here's the moment of truth at the big one. How do you get the angle for that? I'm gonna have to go from the bottom. This is a little awkward. We'll get it. Whoa! Are you kidding me? That was about as easy as apple pie, whatever that's supposed to mean. Ow! I just smashed my hand. There we go. There it is! We got a nice smooth edge edge now, so when we get our form up here, it will just lay nice and flush to the wall. This actually came off pretty good, and I'm pretty sure half of the dust that I chipped off there ended up in my mouth, and now I have gritty teeth. While I was chipping, I was thinking a little bit about forming up this plywood, and I think I came up with a better idea. I think it's pretty safe to say by this point in the project that Roman is definitely more skilled when it comes to building things than I am. So when it comes to this form area, Roman can build it in about 10 minutes. It's probably gonna take me about an hour. So instead of me messing around with that on something that he could do in 10 minutes, I'm gonna work on something that's a little bit more in my strong suit. I've got this chunk of concrete right here that our post is sitting on top of. We need to pull the form off on this side yet, and then over here on the other side of the basement where the post for this big I-beam is sitting, we need to get the form stripped off for this. So I'm gonna pull both of these forms off, and then I'm going to hop in the skid loader, and I really need to get this dirt pile out of here, and I need to get this big pile of concrete out of here. This is a little embarrassing to admit, but it took me 30 minutes to get this form off. But to be fair, there are 10 pieces of rebar sticking through, and all the rebar was stuck through the forms. So I had to break all of the forms off wherever there was rebar. So that's what took us so long. But look at this concrete. That turned out absolutely perfect. We don't have any honeycombing going on. We did a good job of getting our air bubbles knocked out. It's all smooth. That looks beautiful. So now that we got this one all unformed, we're gonna do the other one, and that one should take like 30 seconds. Easy. I got the dirt pile all picked up now. I am ready to tackle this concrete block pile. However, we are losing daylight extremely quick. It's gonna be pitch black in just a few minutes, and I have to load this entire thing up on the dump truck, and it's probably gonna take a strong 2 loads because there is a lot of block there, so I think I'm gonna have to wait on this one. One of my favorite things about doing this project is the fact that it shows the power of doing just a little bit at a time. Like, I'll be completely honest, knocking that wall down today, well, first getting this cleaned up, then knocking the wall down, then digging all this out, then getting all the rebar stuff made inside of there, it wasn't really that much work. Like, yes, we were busy, yes, we were sweating, but like, I look at that as a day's work with 2 people, and it doesn't really feel like we got a lot done. I'm very happy with what we got done. Don't get me wrong, by any means. We worked hard to do that. But it's not like we did anything super extraordinary. Like, we didn't frame the entire house in a singular day. But we got stuff done. And it's just, it's incredible when you take one thing like that and then you do the same thing the next day, and then the same thing the next day, and all of a sudden 3 days turns into 10 days of doing it. 10 days turns into 50 days of doing it. 50 days turns into 100, 100 into 200, and then before you know it, you have an entire project like this that is just moving along, even though you didn't get a significant amount of work done on any individual day. It's just the pairing together day after day after day and not stopping, and that is truly how the elephant gets eaten, and then before you know it, you're done with the project. Now, we still have a long way to go on this project, but it is just so remarkable for me to see what just a little bit of work every single day without stop will accomplish. So with that being said, while I was outside picking up this dirt pile, Roman did run into town and he picked up some more concrete and he picked up a few other materials. So we are now 100% ready, concrete-wise anyway, to get that poured. So we just gotta grab some boards, put that over, make our form, and then we will be pouring. But as we can see, it is now dark, so we're gonna call it a night. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.